granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. So this is what happened in Trafalgar Square just a couple of days ago.
And I've had a chance to meet some of the people here on this.
This chap here is the Mayor of London, the one charged with looking after London as an international city. And he's making a speech, as you can see.
The world's most famous square in the world.
This is Trafalgar Square. You know the bit, feed the birds, tuppence a bag, that square. This is what was going on there.
Greatest city. I've met Christian friends here, Jewish friends here, Hindu friends here, friends who aren't members of an organised faith, atheists here, coming here tonight with us Muslims to open the fast, to have an iftar. That is one of the reasons why we are the greatest city in the world.
Okay, and shortly after that happened, Nick Timothy, the Shadow or Justice Secretary, said that this was not appropriate, and most non-Muslim Londoners, and maybe some Muslim, well, culturally Muslim ones as well, would have found it intimidating. The Guardian reports on it, saying that Kemi Badenoch backed her Shadow Justice Secretary, Nick Timothy, after he claimed that Islamic prayers taking place in public are intimidating and un-British, with Labour saying the Conservatives had embraced the gutter politics of prejudice. Oh, they're ramping this up a great deal, as much as they can, and we're getting all sorts of people sticking their oars in, saying how terribly right-wing and bigoted Nick Timothy is. And we got this in The Guardian, of course. This was Peter Walker reported on Nick Timothy's comment on the 19th of March, and then they dragged out some churchmen who said that there's nothing sinister about Muslim prayers in Trafalgar Square. As a bishop, this fellow said, I reject the right's attacks on worship. I think that should have been a capital R there, but this is The Guardian, you know. All right, so this fellow, a man of the church, a very high-ranking man of the church, says there's nothing sinister about a lot of Muslims taking over Trafalgar Square, remember, feed the birds, tuppence a bag. I might tell you, by the way, that Sadiq Khan had all the pigeons removed from Trafalgar Square. It kept the statues clean, of course. It made Trafalgar Square clinical and a little bit cold, and it's just like a big square now. That's it. Anyway, I got off the subject there. Mind you, if there'd have been pigeons there, then I doubt that most Muslims would have been there to pray, would they? Because there would have been bird poo on the floor, and, you know, you'd have had them circling overhead with inevitable consequences. Right, so there's nothing sinister about it, according to The Guardian. And then Lord Herma weighed in. This is what Lord Herma said. Would they have a problem? They, I don't know who the they are. He may be referring to the Conservatives or Reform, I don't know. But they, by they, he obviously means those people over there, the out group, the non-woke ones, the non-progressive ones, you know, that's probably the they that he's talking about. Would they have a problem if I, as a Jewish man, were praying in public, or is it just Muslim prayer they find offensive and contrary to British values? You know what? Okay, if Lord Herma wants my 2 pence on this, I will say no. If I saw one Muslim praying in a non-awkward place. Like I've seen videos of them in the middle of an aeroplane corridor, meaning you can't walk up and down. That's wrong. If it's in the middle of the road, that's wrong. If it's in a corner, well, that's his business. No, I wouldn't find that bad. What I would find intimidating is if there's a whole lot of Muslims blocking a public space for their prayers. So yes, I would have found it intimidating. But that reminded me of a very funny story that a religious Jewish man told me, some years ago. And what happened was, I think he was in a train station here in Britain. I can't really remember. It was a long time ago. But what he said was he was waiting for a connection. It was early in the morning and he hadn't said his morning prayers. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. The morning prayers a religious Jewish man makes involve the use of something called phylacteries, which comes from some commandment in the Bible that the God said to the children of Israel, the words I'm saying to you today, you must bind them on your foreheads and on your arms. I don't know whether God was actually saying, really bind them on your forehead or just make sure it's there. But of course, the Jews took it literally. And so I got Grok to make me a picture of this. And so this is what a religious Jewish man does. I think that's right. I mean, it's Grok. Grok might have got it wrong. But it's basically the shape. You put this round your forehead and you strap this to your hand and you say the morning prayers. So this religious Jewish man told me that he thought, well, he wanted to say his morning prayers, but he didn't want to make a fuss. So he went into a telephone kiosk in the station. So he'd got himself in the telephone kiosk and he was looking and he thought he'd better look like he's on the phone. So he had the phone to his ear while he had those straps. Now, when Jews pray, obviously they sway with the rhythm of the prayer. So apparently this woman came to the telephone kiosk and she saw this man with these things strapped round his forehead, swaying backwards and forwards. And she started hammering on the door, screaming and shouting and asking for help because she thought there was a man electrocuting himself in the phone box. You can see how the misunderstanding might have happened. Anyway, he definitely caused something of a fuss there. But you see, he told me he tried not to make a fuss. He tried not to get in the way. He just wanted to say his prayers, and that was the most private place he could find where he wasn't going to cause a disturbance. And yet these people here felt it necessary to take over the whole square. I think it's sort of interesting. The Daily Express took this, is showing this particular film, and it's just women. I think they might have done that because if it had been a lot of men, it would have looked more threatening. But if you see a lot of women, it doesn't look quite so bad. I think that's possibly why the Express showed this and not the main bit where the men were. But that's just my theory. All right, well, yeah, that's the Ramadan celebrations in London where Trafalgar Square, feed the birds, tuppence a bag, that place was taken over completely by as a large open mosque. And you know, where Islam establishes a mosque, it's Islam's duty to take it over permanently. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.